please.
Marco T. Camacho.
Here.
Lynn Underwood Segley. Here. John F. Flores.
Here.
Catherine E. Leonard. Justin S. McLaughlin.
Here.
Jean Marie Napolitano.
Here.
Naomi Neville.
Here.
There's a quorum present, Madam Chair. There's a quorum present.
Thank you. Could we please stand for a moment of silence for the victims of the Orlando, I'm not sure how to describe it, massacre, and followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam Clerk, has anyone signed up for the Citizens Forum?
Yes, Paul Fleming of Hammersmith Road is here to speak on fireworks.
Okay, Mr. Fleming? And could you give your name and address for the
Right
your
now,
address?
Paul Fleming, 15 Hammersmith Road, number 32, Newport,
Thank you.
Rhode Island, Moreland Farm. Mayor and council members, fellow citizens of Newport, thank you for my 3 minutes of fame. I'm here to speak about the fireworks that took place at Fort Adams on, more accurately, at Eisenhower House on Saturday, June 11th. I'm not personally against fireworks. I enjoy them all the time. Every 4th of July, they start about 9:30. They last about 20 minutes. Everybody's happy, and then they can go home and go to bed. But these fireworks lasted well beyond the city's own town ordinance of noise ordinance, beyond 10 o'clock. And they took place at Moreland Farm, which is much closer to a lot of homes. What took place on June 11th was a whole nother matter, nothing like the 4th of July. It was extremely loud and lasted a long time. My home was literally shaking. My cats were terrified. The noise was amped up, as Newport Patch reported about the quality of the fireworks and how they teamed with the city and the people who had the party there and how the fireworks are going to be great and noisier. Well, that's not necessarily a good thing. But it's not just nearby residents that were affected by that. It's all 24,000 residents of Newport heard this. People in Jamestown heard it. People in Middletown heard it. Because it was late and way beyond when it's ever been played before, a lot of people were very concerned. They didn't know what was happening. They didn't know what it was. They were speculating as to what it was, because they didn't know it was fireworks. They weren't invited. It is simply unreasonable and unfair burden to the citizens of Newport to be wakened up or prevented from going to sleep at 10 o'clock. It's that simple to me. And it matters not to me how it got permitted or how many people within eyesight of the venue got letters. I was told it was 100 feet or 1,000 feet. People heard it in all 5 towns around Newport. So it doesn't matter to me how the noise ordinance got circumvented, or who did it, or how did it, or what happened. It just matters to me that the majority of the residents of Newport should not be inconvenienced and lose sleep and the right to the quiet enjoyment of their house for one party. It's just wrong.
Thank you.
I strongly believe in this.
This is a new system.
I know, I got it. I hope you never let this happen again.
Okay,
because
thank
the
you.
enjoyment of a few shouldn't ruin a lot of people's lives. It's just,
we will take what you've said. I understand what you're saying. and the council did approve a variance because of inclement weather, but I would agree with you, and we'll take all of that into consideration in the future.
I appreciate it. And I
Okay.
appreciate your time and your service.
Thank you.
Thank you.
A public hearing on the recommended 2016-2017 operating budget.
Madam Chair, I'd like to make the following amendments to the recommended 2016-2017 budget. First Amendment, increase public support to the Edward King House, or I should say, as follows. Increase civic support to the Edward King House by authorizing an additional support amount of $20,000 to be funded from the Poor and Aged Trust Fund. This has no tax impact. Second, increase school funding by $364,684 for a total appropriation increase of $972,490. Third, increase meals and beverage revenues by $100,000. Fourth, reduce general retiree health insurance by $41,000. Fifth, reduce public services transfer to equipment replacement by $100,000. Sixth, increase tax rate for residential by 2 cents to $10.93 per thousand, and commercial tax rate by 3 cents to $15.16 per thousand, for a total increase of $124,000. And seventh, replace general fund equipment replacement schedule in the capital projects budget with the attached schedule. May I have a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it.
Madam Chair, I make a motion to adopt the fiscal year 2016-2017 operating budget as amended.
Second.
There's a motion and a
Madam
second.
Chair,
Yes.
this is a public hearing. Have we
Oh, I'm sorry.
invited the public to speak?
Oh, I'm sorry.
sorry.
Yes, you are correct. Is there anybody from the public that would like to address the budget?
Madam Chair, I make a motion to close the public hearing and approve the operating budget as amended.
Okay.
Second.
Mr. McLaughlin.
Okay, we've now made a motion and seconded, so now if we want to ask questions, we can proceed.
Yes.
I would like to just clarify a few things for my own benefit. But in March, Mr. City Manager, in March we were presented something where we talked about some positions, and I just want to clarify in my own mind as to where they are in the budget. Are we approving a city and school plumbing position?
Yes, we are.
Because I wasn't quite sure where I would find it, but that I will take your word for it. Yes. So we're also approving a public services maintenance person which will be a fourth maintenance person. Right. Are we approving a deputy assessor?
We're upgrading I'm looking at I can have the finance director come up, come up to the podium, but the March 30th presentation indicated that we were upgrading the deputy assessor, upgrading the position. It wasn't adding a position, it was upgrading it.
Right, NEA 4.
Right. Same thing with the purchasing agent, Erin Mulligan, who now I guess we can call her the city/school purchasing agency, because we've taken over the purchasing function, if you will.
No, I understand the rationale, but when I went through the budget, I couldn't quite find the indications that we're changing them.
Right.
I want to clarify in my own mind that the capital improvement plan funding for roads, as it was published, will now stand at $2,090,000. Is that correct? There's been no changes to that. We talked about moving things around, but at the end of the day, it's $2,090,000.
Right. The funding was a bit of a ping pong ball for a while, because originally we had programmed a wash bay into the original budget, which we declined to move forward with, and we took that $500 and some odd thousand and reprogrammed it to roadway improvements. Your numbers are accurate, by the way. And then because of the issues with the bidding of the Rogers roof, we tried to, within the four corners of what we had presented to you, fund that Rogers roof with additional funds within our budget, and we saw the need to move some money from that wash bay, or I'm not going to say the wash bay road improvement money, back over to the Rogers roof for the Rogers roof repair. But then we rebid the Rogers roof, and those bids came in much less than what the original bids came in at. So suffice it to say, we're status quo, second step away from the wash bay with that $500,000 back into the roadway improvements. But your figures are accurate.
Right. I asked the question because as we just to digress for a second with respect to roads, in the citizen survey, citizens said roads and sidewalks were an important component of municipal government. And in this budget, we'll be spending $2,090,000 in the CIP and then another $850,000 for roadway maintenance in the public services, which I think would just, sometimes the numbers just float away and people don't know what we're doing. And I think it's important to point out we're spending almost over $2.9 million for roads. And there's been some discussion recently about how many roads have been repaired, and city managers provided a chart, which I thought was
Mr. Ricky, I has it over there.
But our budget document indicates that our roads that have a pavement condition index of 70 or better, and that's a good level of maintenance, have increased from roughly 44% to 75% from 2006 to 2015, with almost 3% a year, and we're on track to basically get all of our roads fixed in roughly the next 8 years, which for some may seem a little bit longer, but it's a good strategic plan, and we're making an investment in our roads. And I want to bring that point out as we talk about passing the budget.
Yeah, I think the important thing, I just want to highlight that I asked the director the other day if he could produce at least a color-coded map of roadway improvements that we've made since 2008. And he did it, and I've had it blown up, and anyone who wishes to look at it can look at it after the meeting. But the blue on this, which you all have, I emailed it all to you, represents the roadway improvements. And between 08 and 16, we've improved 34 miles of roads, approximately. I think that is good progress, particularly if you consider that we have at least approximately, I think, 98 miles of roadways in the city. So you can do a back-of-an-envelope calculation, particularly if we're adding an additional, what I'm going to tell you, that we're adding an additional $500,000 to what we have been funding in the past to the roadway improvement budget. So I think it's interesting you used the figure 8 years, because we didn't do you did a separate calculation, and I came out with about 8 years and on this back of an envelope calculation. You have to take into account, of course, the condition of the roads and what needs to be done, whether it's a reconstruction or an overlay to it. But I think that's a good back of the envelope calculation, which means, what does that translate into? It translates into that we've made good progress, we'll continue to make good progress, and certainly with all the emphasis on I'll call it the current strategic plan and the citizen survey, which emphasizes infrastructure, it means that's exactly what you've been doing, what the administration has been doing, and what we'll continue to do. So I think it's a good highlight, and it's a good point that the council is making here tonight.
If I could just continue for a second.
Sure.
There's one other. I'm going to vote for this budget because I think it's a good budget, but some of the reasons why I think it's good is because of what we're doing in the roads, but more importantly, it's what we're doing for the schools. And I think we've made the right decision. We're giving the schools the financial tools they need to deal with the challenges in our system. I look to them to take advantage of those financial resources, accept the challenge, and do the best for our kids in the community. So those are two good reasons to vote for the budget.
Thank you.
Madam Chair?
Yes, Councilor.
I'll go ahead and throw in my 2 cents about the school budget, too. I also am pleased that I believe we have the votes tonight to increase the funding for the schools. Back to the Citizen Forum, that was another priority that people had pointed out, was investment in our schools. And I can speak from a parent point of view in that I have had children go through the system a second grader about 3 years ago and my second grader today, and I can see a noticeable difference in the quality of education that my youngest is receiving because of the investments we've made into the schools in the last few years. And I believe that the financial investments that we've been making are actually coming up with quantifiable improvements in the quality of education. So I'm very pleased to see those results. Thank you.
Madam Chair.
Yes, Councilor Segley.
Yes, I'm going to vote to approve the school budget and the budget overall, but I also want to thank the city manager and the finance director for coming up with a way to get us to the 4% without having to dig into without having to increase the tax rate more than 2 cents on the residential rate. So I think that this is a creative way to do it, and I just want to say thank you.
I don't think anyone else have any comments before making.
No, I will be supporting this budget. I also would like to commend not only city manager and finance director, but also the school department. Communications have been ongoing on a daily basis. I believe we've been able to work out a reasonable compromise in terms of this budget for this year. I think it's well-deserved in terms of the school department. They have made tremendous strides in almost every area with every school. So I'm more than happy to support this budget.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm supporting this budget tonight as well. Councilor Leonard, who could not be here today, did ask that I communicate on her behalf that while she does support the original budget as written and passed on first reading, she does not support this one as amended. So just to enter that into the public record for her. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay. Any other comments? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it.
Second reading of an ordinance appropriating revenues.
Madam Chair, I make a motion to amend the ordinance appropriating revenues to include the following. 1, increase general fund revenues and expenditures by $244,000. 2, change city appropriation under the school fund to $25,284,733 and the unfunded portion of the appropriation to $0. May I have a second?
Second.
There's a motion and second. Discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it.
Madam, okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Second reading of an ordinance amending Title III Personnel.
Madam Chair, I make a motion to approve ordinance appropriating revenues as amended on second reading.
Second.
There's a motion and second. Discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it.
Sorry.
Actually, I think the clerk
Second
has a
reading.
problem because that's not the item that she announced.
No,
It's not?
you were right,
Ordinance
Marco.
appropriating.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, ordinance appropriating revenues. We're still on item 3, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, back on item 3. Okay. Madam Chair, I make a motion to approve the ordinance appropriating revenues.
Second.
There's a motion and
As
second.
amended.
Discussion. Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it.
Okay, back on item 4. Okay, now, Madam Chair, I make a motion to adopt the ordinances appropriating revenues as amended on second reading. May I have a second?
Second.
There's a motion and second. Discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it.
Go ahead. Madam Chair, I make a motion to adopt personnel ordinance Title III on second reading.
Second.
There's a motion and second. Discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it.
Madam Chair, I make a motion to adopt ordinance amending Chapter 13-12-010 and 13-12-040 sewer ordinance. May I have a second?
Second.
There's a motion and second. Discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it.
Madam Chair, I make a motion to adopt a resolution regarding the Omnibus Property Tax Relief and Replacement Act. May I have a second?
Second.
There's a motion and second. Discussion?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Yes. Councilor Segley.
I am just a little bit, I just would like to have some clarification on the resolve on this resolution.
It says that there's a two-tier rate, the 1093 per thousand for residential and 15.16 for commercial. But it says that this represents a total increase of 3.06%, and I understand where that number comes from, but I'm wondering, as we go forward for, let's say, next year, if we would be able to actually break up this resolve and, for clarity purposes, to specify what each percentage increase is. So, for instance, to say that the residential tax rate would go up 2.44%, I think it's just a little bit misleading in the resolve how it's written. So would it be possible to do that as time goes on? Or do we need a resolution for that?
No, you don't need a resolution. We'll figure out something. I
Okay.
understand what you mean. The residential rate is increasing 2.44%. It's a combination. You understand the combination.
Yes.
But in terms of, sure, we could put in, barring any violation of state law as to what we have to transmit to any state body, we can change things around a little bit. And if you don't think it's transparent enough or clear enough, we can take care of it.
Right. I mean, I'm sure the Daily News in Newport this week will report it correctly, but I just would. There's a big difference between 2.44 and 3.06, so I just wanted to make that clarification.
Thank you. Are there any other comments? Okay. Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it.
Madam Chair, I make a motion to approve resolution regarding the tax levy.
Second.
There's a motion second. Discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it.
That's it.
Thank you.
The consent calendar.
Madam Chair, I make a motion to approve the consent calendar in its entirety with the exception of item B3.
Second.
There's a motion and second to approve the consent calendar in its entirety with the exception of B3. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it.
Application for a special event license, the Bodie Spa DBA 1-year thank you party, 654 Thames Street.
Madam Chair, I make a motion to approve the Bodie Spa. Councilor Neville to recuse.
Second.
There's a motion and second to approve Bodie Spa thank you party, June 28th. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it.
Application for a vittling license, new owner, K&K Food Mart, Inc., DBA K&K Food Mart, 10 Connell Highway.
Yes, this is a new VIT license for 10 Connell Highway. I move approval.
Second.
There's a motion and second. Discussion. Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it.
Application for a new vittling license, 1989 YDY, Inc., DBA 1989, 198 Thames Street.
This is a VIT license for YDY. I move approval.
Second.
There's a motion and second. Discussion. Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it.
Application for a vittling license expansion, TLC Enterprises LLC, DBA LaRusso's Cafe, 580 Thames Street.
This is a VIT license expansion for LaRusso's Cafe at 580 Thames Street to Unit 3, adding 30 additional seats indoors. I move approval.
Second.
There's a motion and second. Discussion. Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it.
Application for a sidewalk cafe renewal, Fitzsimos LLC, DBA Corner Cafe, 110 Broadway.
This is a cafe renewal for Corner Cafe at 110. I move approval.
Second.
There's a motion and second. Discussion?
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Jamie, you might as well answer a question. I just want to clarify how many seats that you're asking for. Why don't you come up to the... Be the
Could
second.
you come up to the microphone? Identify yourself, please. Thank you.
I'm Jamie Simons, co-owner of the Corner Cafe. As proposed on the plan that I submitted, it was 8, 4 deuces.
It's an expansion, right? I mean, it's not a renewal. I mean, or is it? I think I was a little confused as looking at the plans, Jamie. You want to go out into the bump out area.
Please.
Right. Right. So if it was a renewal, you had, I think, 3 tables against the building, which
I had
reflected
2
last year.
And one of them I lost with the expansion of the tree planter.
Right.
So I put 3 deuces and just kept the one existing there. So it is an expansion, yes.
Right. So effectively, it's not much. I guess we give the same comment that we have been giving all along with these, I'll call them expansions, but use of a different area than what was used for many of these restaurants last year, and that is these so-called bump-out areas on Broadway that, I'll call it the Great Broadway Experiment in some respects. We're going to see how it goes with a lot of these places to see whether it's functional, whether it can work in harmony with residents, whether it can work in harmony with people who just want to walk up and down Broadway and not, use some of these fine establishments. So just the caveat is that the solicitor is redrafting an ordinance. I'm working with him in the redraft, and we're going to see how I would suggest to the council we see how the season goes. I know I've made that same speech at least 6 times in the last couple of months, but I think that's important. We're working the bugs out as we go along, and hopefully there won't be any more bugs to work out. But again, things could change slightly or dramatically in terms of what some of these businesses look like next season.
Madam Chair.
Yes, Councilor.
I fully support what Jamie's trying to do. If I don't, I won't have any place to eat breakfast anymore. But I was concerned about the geometry, and I just want the discussion so that there's an understanding that if this geometry doesn't work out, that the city administration should work with you so that you can achieve the objective of having the 8 seats this year. We've given everybody else latitude. You should get the same latitude.
Right. Appreciate it and understood.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, are we ready to vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it.
Second hearing on an application for an entertainment license expansion, 2 Patties and a Canuck, LLC, DBA The Fifth Element.
Okay, this is a hearing, and it's the second hearing on the entertainment license expansion for The Fifth Element. This is in regard to indoor hours only from 11 a.m. to 1 a.m. Is there anyone here that would like to address this?
Madam Chair, I make a motion to close the public hearing and approve.
Second.
There's a motion and a second to close the public hearing and approve. Discussion?
Madam Chair.
Yes, Councilor.
I would just point out that Fastneck, Tavern on the Broadway, Malt, Caleb and Broad, they all have 1 o'clock. This is consistent with what's going on in other places.
Okay, thank you. Any other discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it.
Communication from Newport Prevention Coalition.
Yes, this is a communication, and it's in regard to a grant. There seems to be some questions on it, so we're going to continue this and refer to administration for both the city and the school department so they can discuss it and come up with a recommendation by our next meeting. There's a motion and second to continue to the next meeting. Discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it.
Appointments to boards and commissions.
Yes, we have one appointment to the Newport Housing Authority, a reappointment of Charles Laranjo.
Second.
There's a motion second to reappoint. Discussion. Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it.
Resolution approving the appointment of Christopher Bean as city solicitor and his appointments for assistant solicitor for civil litigation and assistant solicitor for law enforcement.
Okay. Madam Chair, I move approval of a company resolution, but actually first I would actually want to make an amendment to the resolved. I'd like to change the resolve to read, the City Council hereby appoints Christopher J. Bean as City Solicitor, and be it further, instead of approves the appointment of. So strike out approves the appointment of and replace with appoints.
Second.
There's a motion and second to amend the resolution. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it.
Madam Chair, I make a motion to approve resolution as amended.
Second.
There's a motion and second to approve the resolution as amended. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have
I
it.
think Joe gets a vote on that one, maybe, Madam Chair.
What's that?
He's laughing. You're laughing, Joe.
You get a vote on this?
No, I get emeritus status, right?
Congratulations.
To Mr.
And
Bean.
congratulations,
Yes, to Mr.
Whitney.
Bean, right.
Resolution regarding the development and implementation of a stormwater management fee.
Counselor?
I'll read this, and I'd like just to add a word into the resolve that got lost. Whereas the City of Newport is committed to protecting the community and its waterways through sound planning, construction, maintenance, and improvement of drainage and flood control systems, and whereas the city's water pollution control system includes a combined sanitary sewer collection system and a separated storm drainage system for which the operation and maintenance of both systems is funded through sewer use fee revenue, and whereas the city is actively working to identify and remove both public and private sources of stormwater runoff and flow into a sanitary sewer in accordance with a consent decree executed with the U.S. EPA and RIDEM, and whereas the city's storm drainage system is regulated municipal separate storm sewer system authorized to discharge stormwater under the Rhode Island Discharge Elimination System stormwater general permit, and is required to comply with the requirements of the general permit. And whereas the city is faced with an increased frequency of extreme storm events, increased impacts due to sea level rise, and an increased percentage of impervious surface throughout the city, all of which contribute to surcharging the existing storm drain system and resulting in increased surface flooding in low areas. And whereas the city is anticipating an increased funding requirement for all the components of water pollution control systems, and whereas stormwater management fee structures have been implemented in other cities and towns nationwide and have the potential of creating a fair and equitable method for all property owners in Newport to fund the operation of a storm drainage system separate and apart from the sanitary sewer system, now therefore it be resolved that the City of Newport staff conduct a study of the feasibility of the development and the implementation of a stormwater utility and its associated management fee costs related to maintaining, improving, and upgrading the city's stormwater drainage system and improving the water quality in the environment. And I just wanted to add or say that a number of towns, especially in Massachusetts, have implemented separate stormwater utilities because we're not alone in the fact that we have these issues with stormwater. And right now, we pay for all that percentage of cost through our sewer fees. For example, we just voted on a $38 million sewer and stormwater project, 15% of which is stormwater, and yet we have no way of creating a transparent separation of those costs. This also could potentially help persuade or encourage property owners for the use of more pervious materials, because sometimes the fee structure can be calculated based on pervious versus non-pervious materials. The other thing that's also beneficial, too, is that this could be a fee structure that is implemented throughout all property owners, for-profits, non-profits, residential, commercial. So there's the potential of sort of creating an equitable system. It can be fairly complicated. At this point, I wouldn't want to attach on to it a date of which we'd have the feasibility study done, but I already know that the staff are starting to sort of push forward with this idea, as we did discuss this in general in our last workshop. So I would ask my fellow councilors to, second, and then approve the resolve. Thank you.
I'd like to second.
Thank you.
Madam Chair?
Discussion, yes.
Did you incorporate the words utility, stormwater utility?
I did. In the resolve, I read it as a stormwater utility and associated management costs related to maintaining and improving.
I would just suggest that I understand you're not interested in creating a deadline at this time, but I do believe that if there isn't some point in time when we have to get a report back, it could just fall apart. So do we have some sense, you've been talking to the Utilities Department, do we have some sense when they might have something to come back to the council with? 6
I don't
months?
have the expertise
Well,
to
there
know
isn't-
at this point.
We want to look at it. The Utilities Department, part of the city administration, we want to look at it, and as you all know, we brought it forward during the course of a review of the water pollution control budget. I've had a number of conversations with the utilities director about this, and I think what we contemplate, and this is on its surface what we contemplate, because we, of course, wanted to get the budget done tonight. And of course, if we're going to implement it, if we were to implement anything, it'd be next year,
Right.
July 1 of 17, perhaps. I suspect that after we talk a little bit more about it internally, we'll come back to you at some time after this mandate and suggest to you that we're going to need some outside help to vet it, to develop it, to review it, and to present to you some alternatives to approaches of either a stormwater utility or some type of stormwater management fee. So we want to come back to you because we recognize that 15% of our water pollution control budget, approximately 15%, is stormwater. We have two components of it. We got sewerage and we got stormwater. We believe that we could probably successfully separate that out. It may ameliorate some of the costs of the fee that we charge on sewerage right now, but it's something that a lot of communities are looking at, that we want to look at, and we want to get out in front of it. Mm-hmm. So I could tell you right now, we'll come back to you in, I'll say 8 months for the report, but I may be telling you a little bit of tall tale. I think what we need to do, we have your mandate. We need to now figure out how we're going to enact the mandate, and that is to try to put this together. And without sitting down and going through this in detail with the utilities director, who's had, among a dozen different things to do lately, get rolling on our $40 million contract for our sewer works, as well as segueing out of the old contract, as well as managing the water works. We need to sit down and comprehensively decide what approach we're going to take. But I suspect we're going to have to at least get some outside assistance to move forward on that. And I can't tell you tonight what that timeline would be. But I think it's important that you consider passing this tonight so we can start to step off on that. And then there's more than one. We may want to bring in some others that are interested in the community on this to discuss with. And just as a small minor point, I had a representative here tonight from a nonprofit organization who is heavily involved in the Bay, and they indicated they'd love to talk to me about this resolution if it passed. And so I think we're going to garner a lot of interest in this, not just internally but externally. So I discourage a timeline, but we'll come back to you at some time, hopefully in the near future, and report on it.
Yeah, I think that's fine. It's a very complicated issue. I don't think we should put an arbitrary date on it.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
I won't make any recommendations for doing that at this time, but I don't want to find out that the council that sits here next year was unable to do something because we didn't move it forward as fast as possible. As we all know, the sewer rates aren't going down. The council, I think, will want to try to get the General Assembly to address that 1% meal and beverage tax increase, which
is something we need to talk about the approch.
Right.
That's important.
These things all go together, and if we could do it in time to have an impact on next year's budget, that would be great. Let the record show that I hope we can do this as quickly as possible.
I would just like to commend Councilor Neville for bringing this forward much like the pension, every time somebody hears something about the sewer charge, the eyes glaze over. I understand that, but they don't glaze over when they receive their bill. So I think it's an important step forward. I think it's something that we need to address. I think we're going to be in the forefront of it, and I look forward to seeing the outcome of whatever is decided by the experts. So, any other comments? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, ayes have it.
Second reading of an ordinance amending Chapter 10.24 entitled Parking Restrictions on Specific Streets.
Councilor Camacho?
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is an item that has been continued a couple of times, but most recently since the June 8th meeting. We do have a recommendation that I believe the full members of council have reviewed that came from City Manager Nicholson only a couple of days ago. We don't necessarily have it in the packet, so I'd like to actually read the deletions and the additions on the ordinance themselves in relation to Mill Street. In a nutshell, for anyone in the audience or listening at home, we are going to effectively take 2 spaces, make them 30 minutes from an area that is now no parking, and those spaces will be usable from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Daily only. That would allow from 6 p.m. In the evening to 8 a.m. in the morning the ability for those with driveways that directly abut that no parking zone now, the ability to be able to pull in and out without any kind of hindrances or encumbrances or vehicles just parked in that no parking area. And since it's only 30 minutes, we expect high turnover in that area as well. So minimal impact. Anyone with a 2-hour parking space right now or any additional spaces will remain status quo. We're only adding 2 spaces again to a no parking zone. So I would make a motion to amend the ordinance to read in 10-24-010 to delete Mill Street South Side beginning at a point 140 feet west of Bellevue Avenue and extending west at a distance of 55 feet as designated, and to add the following, Madam Chair. Mill Street South Side beginning at a point 144 feet west of Bellevue Avenue and extending west at a distance of 23 feet. Add Mill Street South Side beginning at a point 167 feet west of Bellevue Avenue and extending west at a distance of 42 feet daily from 6 p.m. to 8 a.m. In Section 1024-050, 2, 3, and 4-hour parking limits. I make a motion to delete Mill Street South Side beginning at a point 47 feet west of Bellevue Avenue and extending west at a distance of 60 feet, and adding Mill Street South Side beginning at a point 47 feet west of Bellevue Avenue and extending west at a distance of 97 feet. As per 1024-030, I make a motion to add as well Mill Street South Side beginning at a point 167 feet west of Bellevue Avenue and extending west at a distance of 42 feet is designated a 30-minute parking zone daily 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. That's the extent of it, Madam Chair. I make a motion to approve.
Second. There's a motion and a second. Discussion?
Madam Chair?
Yes, Councilor.
I actually find in this recommendation from the city manager an elegance that I really appreciate.
Yeah.
If we approve this, we are going to add 2 30-minute spaces, and we're actually going to add 37 feet in a 2-hour area, which could be used potentially by 2 cars that do not exist today because we're taking them out of the yellow striped area, which people need to get in, to get some things in and out of their yards. But we're leaving for those homeowners the ability to do that from 6 o'clock at night and 8 o'clock in the morning. So we're adding 4 spaces, and
no, we're adding 2.
Now, actually, you've moved at the other end.
Yeah, you're right.
You've moved it, and in a sense you're adding 37 feet, and you're doing that into the yellow space. So it's a win-win, I think, for everybody. And I commend you for your elegance.
Oh, thank you.
This doesn't.
Don't
The
let it
yellow
go to your
spaces are there,
head.
that's all I know.
Yeah,
These two yellow spaces are there. Or not yellow anymore, I guess.
Okay, is there any other discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it.
First reading of an ordinance amending Chapter 13.12.015, CSO fixed charge.
Madam Chair, I make a motion to approve.
Second.
There's a motion second to approve. Discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it.
Action number 5537.
Madam Chair, this was a action item that was continued from the June 8th meeting. The city manager did request a little bit more time. Thankfully, we did get a revised resolution that came back to us on June 21st. It is showing over $500,000 in savings from the original June 8th action item. I'm going to go ahead and read the new resolution in the resolved for clarification. Whereas award has been recommended to Albor Construction Corporation of Warwick, Rhode Island at a not to exceed total contract price of $3,184,300, inclusive of $2,866,000 for the base bid project elements plus a 5% contingency equal to $143,300 plus $175,000 for roof drainage components paid for via unit cost provided in the bid at the discretion of the city and in accordance with all terms and specifications contained within the revised bid documents updated June 8th, 2016 as prepared by Edward Rouse Architects Incorporated. Now therefore be it resolved that the bid to Albor Construction Corporation of Warwick, Rhode Island is hereby accepted at a total not to exceed cost of $3,184,300 and the mayor is authorized to sign said contract on behalf of the city subject to favorable review by the city solicitor. I move approval of this accompanying resolution.
Second.
There's a motion and second. Discussion?
Madam Chair, I have a question here because the document I'm looking at for this resolution says it was revised on the 21st, and today's the 22nd. So this wasn't a change to our docket made inside of 48 hours. Is there anything we just?
I don't. I thought about the question.
I have no reason. I have no problem with suspending the rules and accepting the change, but I'm just concerned that, if there were anybody who wanted to raise an objection, we're taking something up that really wasn't on the docket and wasn't added to the docket within 48 hours that we're taking it up tonight. I just want to make sure that's not a problem, and if it is, we fix it now.
Well, I don't believe it's a problem, in my opinion, because the original letter was on the docket. You're simply,
Amending.
for all intents and purposes, as an amendment to that original resolution. Okay. And a good one in that. I think you all agree.
Does the solicitor
agree?
Sorry.
Just say yes.
Just say yes.
Mr. Bean, didn't we appoint you to?
Just wanted to make
it's based on those reasons.
Okay.
Very well. Thank you.
Any other discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it.
Madam Chair, I'd also make a motion to approve as amended on this action item.
Okay.
Resolution.
There's a motion second to approve as amended. Discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it.
Action number 5544.
Madam Chair, Department of Utilities Water Division staff recommends the award of the heavy-duty tandem dual-wheel Pinto trailer to the lowest bidder, BH Trailers and Plows, Johnston, Rhode Island, in the amount of $10,178. Funding for this project will be provided from the Water Division Distribution Budget Repair and Maintenance Equipment Fund. It is currently budgeted and move approval of accompanying resolution.
Second.
There's a motion and second. Discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it.
Action number 5545.
Madam Chair, it is recommended that the City Council approve the transfer of $25,000 in funds to civic support and the appropriation of $25,000 to the Newport Open Space Partnership. I move approval of accompanying resolution.
Second.
There's a motion second. Discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it.
Action number 5546.
Madam Chair, Department of Utilities Water Pollution Control Division staff recommends the award of Amendment Number 1 in accordance with Section 10 of Supplemental Agreements of Contract Number 14 024 with CDM Smith for professional services as city advisor for the design, build, operate contract for the city's water pollution control system for an amount not to exceed $3,300,000 for Phase 3 services to be provided from July 1st, 2016 through June 30th, 2020. Phase 3 services are related to oversight of the capital improvements at the wastewater treatment facility to be completed as part of the new design, build, operate contract with Newport Water Services, LLC. Funding for this project will be provided from the Water Pollution Control Capital Improvement Program. It is also recommended that the term of the contract be extended to June 30th of 2020. It is currently budgeted. Madam Chair, I move approval of accompanying resolution.
Second.
There's a motion, second. Discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it.
Action number 5547.
Madam Chair, Department of Public Services recommends awarding the contract for the Cardines Field pole-mounted netting to the lowest responsible bidder, which is 4Net Incorporated of West Kingston, Rhode Island, for a total project cost not to exceed $24,000. It is currently budgeted. I move approval of accompanying resolution.
Second.
There's a motion and second. Discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it.
Action number 5540.
Madam Chair, Department of Public Services recommends, 5548, correct?
Oh, sorry. 5548. Yes, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. Madam Chair, Department of Public Services recommends increasing the contract amount for the Hunter Court tennis court restoration and ADA improvements project awarded to Narragansett Improvement Company of Providence, Rhode Island, for a total change in cost not to exceed $20,920. The cost includes $14,800 for the installation of geotextile soil stabilization fabric and $6,120 for the installation of drainage improvements. The new total contract cost is not to exceed $186,434.00. It is currently budgeted. I move approval of accompanying resolution.
Second.
There's a motion and second. Discussion?
Madam Chair?
Yes, Councilor Neville.
I'm sorry, I just had a question about this because we were talking about the Hunter Court basketball courts.
Yes.
This is separate from that?
Yes.
Okay. Will that come in front of us at some point
Yes.
as well? Okay, thank you.
Any other discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it.
Action number 5549.
Madam Chair, City Clerk's Office recommends the approval of change order number 1 for the completion of the City Clerk's Office rehab project in the not-to-exceed amount of $10,133.00. The additional cost, Madam Chair, completes the shelving units for the City Clerk's Office vault, which will consolidate the Vital Record Index cards into a more efficient design space, therefore allowing more storage space in the vault for permanent records. Funding will be made from the Archival Trust Fund account. I move approval of accompanying resolution.
Second.
There's a motion and second. Discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it.
Madam Chair, I make a motion to adjourn as council and convene as Board of License Commissioners.
Second.
There's a motion and second to adjourn as council and convene as Board of License Commissioners. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it.
Madam Chair, I make a motion to approve the consent calendar in its entirety.
Second.
There's a motion second to approve the consent calendar in its entirety. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it.
Madam Chair, I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
There's a motion and second to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Meeting adjourned.